So on this World EV Day of 2022, something that's more certain than ever is that electric vehicles are going to be the car of the future. Now with 6 million EVs being sold in 2021 globally alone, which is 100% increase in what was sold in 2020, we can see that consumers are taking to electric cars in their droves. Now this is largely being pushed by governments, so whether this is in Norway, which is saying that all new cars need to be electric by 2025, with then a lot of Europe following in 2030, or whether this is being pushed by the OEMs who themselves are committing to producing just electric cars from 2025 onwards. But what is particularly unclear is how the mass market consumer will then really adapt to the behavioural change around electric car charging. So we're seeing a change here from the pioneer to the mass market consumer who will need to use the car and rely on it for everyday mobility for their everyday needs. Now, in order to cope with this huge increase in EVs, we're also going to need to see a big increase in the amount of publicly available charging infrastructure as well. In the UK, for example, 1/3 of households will not have access to private parking or private charging. And the UK government are going to respond to this by increasing by a factor of 10 the amount of electric car charging points available to the public by 2030. In the US, we're seeing similar figures of, say, 500 charging points needing to be installed every day in order to cope with demand. So that then begs the question about where will these charging points go? Well, the answer is going to be in semi-private ground like this in car parks. However, in car parks, it becomes a much more complicated user journey for a driver to charge that car. It's no longer just a case of finding out where the charging point is and if it's available, but also knowing what the parking restrictions are and if there's a parking barrier that will close at some point. In other words, in order to get the full experience and confidence so you can charge your car, you need to combine both the parking and the charging data together. Fortunately, cars are also becoming much more connected, and this allows data providers to send much more information to cars via APIs in order to use in the head units of all of the OEMs. Now from Parkopedia, this includes parking data of 90 million spaces globally, both on-street and off-street. We're adding to this our top-of-the-range EV POI data globally, and then we also have the in-car payment transaction platform, which ties all these together and provides a complete experience for the driver to find and pay for parking locations and charging locations.